For very many parents, the question always is, how do I help my child to behave? If my child would just listen, if he would just obey instructions, it's going to minimize my triggers, and then the yelling, the smacking will stop. How do I help my child behave is the question I keep getting. How do I make them obey? So today I'm looking at how to help your child behave. Just one simple trick that if you follow, you are going to have a cooperative child. You are going to yell less. You are going to smack less. Just one simple trick. Enime Orebe is my name. Welcome to Parenting Solutions with Enime Orebe. What we do here is talk parenting, share with you, empower you with parenting tips that will help you parent the 21st century child. So if you love it, if after watching any of my videos you enjoy it, or rather you got value, do well to share, do well to subscribe, do well to drop a comment and drop an emoji, like, or anything. Thank you so much for trusting me to do this. If you are returning, thank you so much for trusting me to give you value and always coming back. If you are new, join this community. It's somewhere you want to be. Today is how to get your child to behave, how to get your child to cooperate without all the drama. And I said it is just one simple trick I'll be sharing with you today. Yes. Now, this one simple trick I want to share with you, call it a trick, call it a hack, call it a simple solution, is just something that is very effective if you follow through, like I said. And this simple trick is being consistent. Consistency, being consistent. It is that simple. However, it's not so simple. When to be consistent is not so simple. Now, if you can be consistent in your parenting, you are going to get a cooperative child. You are going to have a less dramatic, a less chaotic parenting, if only you can be consistent. Now, when we talk about parenting structure, what we mean is consistency. Consistency. Now, the reason for the many dramas we have in parenting is because we are not consistent. Now, when you are not consistent, your child is confused. Your child wants to test your limits. They don't know what to expect. Even when they guess what to expect, it is not always so. So they want to try their luck. They want to take their chances, because it may be or it may not be. So consistency is the major key to getting your child to behave, to modifying any behavior you want to modify in children. And I will go further to explain to you how you can be consistent in your parenting and the areas you can be consistent in your parenting. Now, if this was a live class, I will ask you to mention one behavior that triggers you. One of the excuses you have to yell, to smack, and do all those drama in parenting. I'll ask you to mention it. And when you do, we are going to see how we can be consistent with it. How we can be consistent about it. Because that is how you can get change. So you want to start by taking a particular thing you always complain about. Let's say you complain about bedtime. Your kids don't go to bed early as at the time you want them to go to bed. They don't go to bed. So you want to look at it. Over the time that you have set this bedtime rule, have you been consistent? Do you just wake up and ask them to go to bed anytime? You just wake up, it's okay, go to bed, it's time to go to bed. Or because they are noisy, they are disturbing, you just say, go to bed, it's time to go to bed. Or because they are bickering, you ask them go to bed. Or because you want to see a movie, an adult movie, you don't want them to sit, you ask them to go to bed. If you do that, you are not being consistent. Now, being consistent with bedtime simply means have a specific time they go to bed. A specific time. If it's 8 p.m., have that specific time. Okay, this is 8 p.m. and it's time to go to bed. Now, being consistent simply means that every single day, 8 p.m. every day, they go to bed. Now, experts say that some say it takes 21 days, some 90 days, some 270 and a few days to get into a habit. Now, imagine if you are asking them to go to bed, if they go to bed every day repeatedly for that much time, what happens? Their body will adjust to sleeping or to going to bed at that time. It's not, repetition is the mother of learning, they say. Now, consistency is about repetition. Yes, That is the key. That is the ingredient. Is the magic. The repetition is the magic in consistency. That is why it gets behavior. Let me give you a practical example. I remember one time I was driving down Lagos. I live in Lagos State, Nigeria. I was driving down and I needed to buy some things. I saw these hawkers hawking them, and I had someone in the car told me, "Why don't you just pull over and get these things?" I said, "No, this place is a no parking zone. You don't park, you don't wait, you don't loiter, just drive past." And she said to me, nobody is here to catch you now. Just buy your thing, And I said no, and I drove off. Why did she ask me to stop? Because even though there was a rule there, the rule was not consistent. It was not consistent. Today you break the rule, today you break the rule, no one catches you, no one finds you, no penalty, nothing. So people always want to take their chances. I want to look at, are the people in charge of implementing the rule, are they around? No, it's not consistent. But if every single time you pass through that place and you want to do something, you get caught, soon it will become, everybody will realize that this is a no parking zone, this is a no waiting zone, a no slowing down zone, and no one will do that. But as long as that rule is not consistent, people are still going to break the rule. Even if 10 people break the rule, only 3 get caught, people are still going to want to take their chances because it's not consistent. So consistency is key, is super important. So if you want to modify any behavior, if you want to get your children to behave, you need to be very consistent. You need to be consistent. However, there are so many factors responsible for where we are not consistent, where we cannot be consistent. And if you really want to be consistent, you want to modify a particular behavior, you want to get more cooperation, you want them to behave more, then you will learn to be consistent. You will learn these factors that are responsible for why it's not so easy for you to be consistent, and begin to work on the factors. So I'll share the factors with you now. The factors that are why you may struggle a great deal with consistency. I'll share the factors with you now. Now, the major factor why it's not easy for you to be consistent is because you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan. And because you don't have a plan, you are not proactive. Because you are not proactive, you don't plan to fix the heart. It's just a spontaneous reaction to behaviors, which most time is determined by your mood. This is it. So one of the major reasons is because you let your mood get in the way. You don't have a plan, you don't have a structure, you have not thought it out, you have not planned it. So you just let your mood get in the way. This is what happens to a lot of us in our parenting. A lot of us, our mood dictates what we do. Our reactions, our responses, our behaviors is determined by our mood. We are not in a good mood and the child is hearing it. You're in a good mood and everyone is excited. So your mood is one of the reasons why you are not consistent in your parenting. Your mood. You're in a bad mood, you're having a bad day, or something happens, you are just triggered. So you are responding impulsively. So, and how you can fix this is a simple planning, set structure in place, planning. What are the behaviors that actually you want to modify? What are the behaviors that get you triggered? What are the behaviors that gets on your nerve? What are they? You have to write them down. You don't wait to be in the mood. You don't wait for the child to actually exhibit those behaviors before you just snap. You don't wait for the child to exhibit those behaviors before you let your mood dictate your reaction, because our mood is a great one. And even when we have plans, if we are not in control of our mood all the time, if we are not intentional about our emotions, our mood is still going to get in the way. So what you want to do is to always pay attention to your mood. Like I said, be proactive. Don't wait for your child to behave or misbehave before you set the rule. Plan the rule on time. You have a child. You've had your child for a while. You know what to expect. You know the behaviors to expect from him or from her. You know that already. So what you want to do is to now sit down and look at what you want to do about the behavior. First of all, you want to ask yourself, is it a behavior? Is it really a misbehavior, or is it just something else? I should do a video on misbehaviors, why children misbehave, and our misconception about misbehaviors and all of that, so that we can actually cut them some slack. So you want to look at the behavior. Back to what I was saying, you want to look at the behavior. Is it a misbehavior? Now, if it is a misbehavior, you know that there is a motive, there is a motivation. If you watch my first video on a parent that reached me that her son cheated, you know I talked about, you learn about more about motivation. There is a motivation, and the motivation deals with the root cause, the heart of the child. That is what you want to settle. You want to fix the behavior. You just don't want to fix the behavior, but you want to fix it from the root cause. So you want to look at the behavior. When you look at the behavior, then you ask yourself, what is this behavior telling me? That is how you trace it to the heart. That is how you trace it to the root cause. When you know what it's telling you, you now want to set a measure, put a measure in place. You want to move a measure in place. Let me look at a particular, let me give another example. For example, you have a child who, okay, the one the parents complained about recently. The child, whenever someone gives him or her something, she just takes it, he just takes it and eats it without bringing it home. They share items in school, they share items in church, and he never brings it home. In fact, she never gets to know until maybe she sees other children, they are talking about it, and when she gets home, she asks the child, and the child says, I ate it, you know, I've smacked him, I've yelled at him, I've beaten him, and nothing is happening. So as a parent, you want to trace it back to the foundation. What is the foundation? Why can't my child bring these things home? It simply means that my child may not be able, doesn't have self-discipline to be able to resist the now urge. So my child cannot delay gratification. He wants to have it now. So you want to find out, okay, now this is it. So what do I do? What structure do I put in place? Now, talking about delay gratification, it doesn't just stop at eating those items he is giving. You can want to trace it, connect it to other behaviors, and actually put them under one heading and create a structure around it. So you want to look at which other areas does he not know how to delay gratification, which other character of his shows that he's not delaying gratification, or rather which other behaviors does he exhibit that shows that he's not delaying gratification. So you want to look at all of them together and box them, and now create a rule, a structure on that particular character that you want him to form. Because there's something I always say, behavior is not just in isolation. And so that is why you don't treat behavior in isolation. You will trace it back to the heart, trace it back to the character, trace it back to the root cause, and begin to fix it from there, so that you will have a long lasting solution, so that you'll be able to, at the end of the day, win the heart of the child in that character. So still talking about tracing it back. So you trace it back to the root cause, and you begin from there. This way you are no longer impulsive. So you have understood the behavior. You've understood the behavior that, you know, I always say that every misbehavior is a cry for help. It is a cry that the child is trying to say, hey, I don't have self-discipline. Hey, I don't know how to delay gratification. I need help learning this thing. That's what it means. When the child gets something, he just swallows it, or someone comes around to visit, they give him money, the next thing he does is he runs off to buy something. And you know, delay gratification is a key skill in adulthood. He needs to be able to delay gratification now, so that he can be able to delay gratification in adulthood. You know that. So after tracing it, boxing it, you create your structure. Okay, whenever they give you something in church, this is what you are going to do with it. Whenever someone visits and gives you money, this is what you are going to do with it. Whenever food is not ready, for example, you are not going to snack. You are going to wait a bit. Extra 5 minutes, extra 10 minutes will not do anything to you. You are going to wait a bit. You know, you want to look at the other areas and create a definite plan, and not wait for it to happen before you react. You wait for the other areas to create a definite plan, and you make sure it is consistent. You are consistent with it. Every single time you are consistent with it. I'm not telling you that the first time, the second time, the third time, even the fourth, fifth, sixth time, it's your child is just going to say, oh, no. For some children, there are some children that are naturally structured. They are routinous. They like things going in a pattern, so they understand, and it's easy for them to blend. For some other children who naturally don't have the capacity to delay gratification, it's going to be a great struggle for them, especially from where they are coming from. All the while they've not had to wait. So why wait now? It's going to be a bit of struggle for them. And then some children also, they want to tell you that, hey, this is my pattern, this is my style, this is what I want to do. You are not to tell me what to do. You know, they want to test your limits. They see how resolved you are. Now this is where you are consistent. You keep at it. You are consistent. Another example I want to give is like wanting your child to do chores. For example, your child doesn't like to do chores. So each time I don't have strength to shout today. I don't have strength to talk today. I don't even want to remind this child today. So you go and do it yourself. Then tomorrow, you tell the child, you expect the child to do the chores by himself or by herself. You are not being consistent. The child knows that, hey, sometimes because mommy doesn't want to shout or daddy doesn't want to yell, he does it himself or she does it herself. For that reason, he want to see if you are going to do it. So he can even relax and watch you, and then you say, what you say, go and do it the first time, and then he's hoping that maybe if he says it 2-3 times, I don't do it, she'll go and do it herself. What you repeat yourself a couple of times before he will go. But when he knows that it is, no matter what, it is my duty, I am the one doing it, nobody helps me, that is being consistent. And for you to get to this level, your rule or the behavior you are modifying, the structure you put in place has to be repeated a couple of times. Like you are what do you call this thing? You are reinforcement, you know, you keep repeating it. You keep repeating it. You keep repeating it. You keep repeating it. No matter how much your child tries to test your limit, you keep repeating it. That way you are consistent. That way your child gets the message that it is sacrosanct. It is sacrosanct. Nothing can be done about it. It's a structure, like a building, cannot be moved. You know, that is how to be consistent. Like I said, pay attention to your mood. It's very, very important. Pay attention to your mood to be consistent. Make sure you are not impulsive. Make sure your mood is not influencing what you want. Is not influencing your instructions. It's not spontaneous. You just don't give random talks, spontaneous instructions, or spontaneous. When I mean spontaneous instructions, I mean it's not something you are consistent about. You know, it's something actually you want your child to do. It's a behavior you want your child to exhibit. So there should be a plan for him to learn, and not you just waking up one morning because you're in a bad mood. You say, everybody leave the living room, go and sleep. You know, growing up in those days, you just enter the living room, everybody get out, leave here. Now, before you even come up with a structure, your rules have to have a reason. You just don't give impulsive. Remember I said, for example, your child is always like the woman whose child is always eating up items, start bringing them home, showing them to her, even talking about them. There's a reason, the foundational reason. He doesn't have delayed gratification. So your rule has to have, you need to make sure it is addressing a behavior. It is not just a product of your impulse. It must address a behavior. It must address a behavior. And so another thing you want to do is to make sure that you are not doing this in isolation. You are setting rules. You are not setting them in isolations. You're talking about misbehaviors. You're not just talking them to yourself. It's not a monologue. You want to talk to your child. You want both of you to sit down, all of you to sit down and talk about them. Now, these are the things I noticed, and we need to put a stop to these things. We need to do better. You talk to them. And this is the reason why you don't do this. When people give you things in church, you just eat them. People give you snacks in school, you just eat them. People give you things along the way, just eat them. It is not right. It simply means you don't have self-discipline. It simply means you can't control yourself. You can't wait a little further. No. What we are going to do is this. Whenever someone gives you something, you are not going to eat it immediately. You are going to bring it home straight to mommy, and mommy will bless it before you eat it. Mommy needs to bless your food, every food you are eating or something before you eat it, something you are giving. It's just an example. You are eating before you eat it. Now, that way, why do you need to say mommy needs to bless it? I have a book, My Family Structure. If you get that book, you understand that why I just use the word your mommy needs to bless it. Because when you tell a child bring it home, You have to, if you want a child to either start doing something or stop doing something, there has to be an anchor for it, for example. So you say, bring it home, let mommy bless it, so that your child is not eating it immediately. Home, it means your house. Blessing. So what it means, when your child takes that thing and comes home, mommy is not there. He's going to wait for mommy to come back and bless it for him to eat. So what is he looking up to? Home and mommy's blessing. Those are the things he's looking up to. So those are the reasons he is going to wait. He's not waiting indefinitely. No, his waiting has an expiry time. That is, your child looks up to it. So even when adult needs to delay gratification, for example, they know that their waiting has an expiring time. So they look forward to the expiring time. So it's not okay when they give you something in school, bring it and keep it. Anytime I like, I give it to it. No, it's not anytime I like, I give it back to you. It has a definite time. It has an expiring time. So that expiring time is home and mommy blessing it. That is what the child looks up to. The child looks up to. So you have to discuss these issues with your children. Tell them the reason why these things are important. It is important for them to do these things you want them to do. You discuss these reasons with them. And lastly, it is not every single time that you set rules or structures. Now it is called choosing your battle. You have to know when it is important. You have to know, okay, this behavior is from a character, it's from the heart. I need to address it from the foundation. It's not every time. So there are some things your children do, just look at them and take your eyes away. For example, a house, people keep saying that my children is running up and down. Let them run up and down. It's not a misbehavior. They have energy. They are active. They are healthy. So all you need to do is to child-proof your house. That is not, or child-proof your house, or create a safe space for them to play all the play they want to play. So you choose your battle. You know that it is not every single thing that needs to trigger you. Not every single thing you need to set your rules, your structures, and fix. So however, the ones you want to fix, you should be consistent. Consistent is the key, is the hack, is the simple trick I promise to teach you. Be consistent. Whatever rule you set in place is for you to be consistent. Now, this is why we have this book. I have this book, My Family Constitution. It's actually an ebook for 2,000 naira, and it goes free for members of Parenting Accountability Community. It goes free because it's part of their registration package. It's actually an ebook, but I print my own. I always advise members to print theirs. It captures behaviors, every single behavior you can anticipate, every single misbehavior you can anticipate. It captures it, and it captures a consequence for it. It's designed in a way that it helps you to stay consistent. As long as you are always referring to it, your child knows exactly what to expect. So it's like me driving down the road, knowing that if I pass that place, if I stop, last month, they are going to stop me. So I will not even think of it. So even when my friend asked me, my friend wouldn't even have asked me to, she wouldn't have asked me to stop, because she knows that they will stop. So that is the constitution. Every single thing, every single behavior is captured in it already. So your child knows that, hey, if I do this, this is the consequence. It is sacrosanct, it happens, it is consistent, it is repeated, it is the norm, is the structure, is the way. It is our lifestyle, it is our way of life. If I do this, with A comes B. He knows that. So before he does A, he wants to sit down and ask himself, am I ready for B? You are predictable. Predictability is a key ingredient in parenting. So you are predictable. Your child wants to say, okay, am I ready for the troubles of B? Am I ready for the consequences of B? Because I know that every time I do A, B follows. So now this is the trick to getting your children to behave without all the drama of yelling, smacking, or rather minimize yelling and smacking. I hope you learned something today. If you got value, please share this video. Always feel free to drop your questions in the comment section, or you can check my previous videos for my number and send them to me via WhatsApp. Always feel free to drop your questions again and your observations. And if you get value, Thank you so much for watching it this far. Please share to your friends, to everyone, and say, and put your comments, like, subscribe. Yes, subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye for now.